It happens fast. You step back and catch her tail, or your voice goes sharp because you're tired, and she's gone, bolted under the bed or up onto the shelf, giving you the kind of cold, flat stare that makes you feel about 2 inches tall. And you tell yourself what everyone tells you about cats. She's mad, she holds grudges, she'll make me pay for that. But then, an hour later, when you've almost forgotten, she comes back. Quiet, slow. She winds around your ankles or climbs up beside you and presses the top of her head into your hand hard, like she means it. And some soft part of you wonders, was that an apology? Here's the truth. And it's stranger and more tender than either story you've been told. Your cat is not holding a grudge. Cats barely do that. But she also isn't apologizing the way a person would. What she's actually doing in that quiet return is something older and honestly more loyal than an apology. And once you understand it, you will never read that little head press the same way again. I'll be honest with you the whole way down, including the part where I have to take away a story you might be fond of, because there's a lovely myth wrapped around this, and you deserve the real thing. By the end, you'll know the 3 things your cat is really doing when she comes back to you. And the last one is the one that quietly undoes me every time. Let's start with the return itself, because that's the part people misread completely. We've all been sold the idea of the cat as a cold little island, aloof, indifferent, keeping score. But the research on cat social behavior tells a different story. Cats descend from a mostly solitary ancestor, yes, but living alongside us, they become genuinely social, and social animals cannot afford to let a bond stay broken. When there's tension between a cat and someone in her group, the instinct that kicks in is not punish them, it's repair this. So when she comes back to you after a bad moment, that return is not her caving, and it's not random. It is a deliberate move to close a gap that her instincts are telling her not to leave open. Which brings us to what she does when she gets to you. The head bump, the winding around your legs, the way she drags her cheek along your hand. That is not just affection. That is chemistry, and it has a job. Cats live in a world built of scent, and a group of cats that gets along shares a scent. They rub on each other and on their space until everyone carries the same familiar smell, a kind of invisible signature that says we belong together. Conflict, stress, distance. Those things fray that shared scent. So when your cat presses her head and cheek into you and rubs the length of her body along your leg, she is, in the most literal way, reapplying the family scent. She is rebuilding the thing the argument disturbed. To her, that head bump isn't sweet. It's repair work. And there's a third signal, softer, easy to miss. Watch her eyes when she settles back near you. If she looks at you and slowly closes them, that long, drowsy blink, pay attention. Because researchers have found the slow blink works as a calming, positive signal between cats and people. A little flag of, I mean you no harm, we're okay. Some cats will also groom themselves near you or start to groom you. And grooming between cats is one of the deepest peacemaking, bond tending things they do. She is telling you, in the only vocabulary she has, that the tension is over as far as she's concerned. Now, before we go any further, I promised you honesty. So here's the hard part. She does not feel guilt. Not the way you're imagining. That heartbroken hangdog, I'm so sorry, look we love to read onto our pets. The science says we're mostly inventing it. In careful studies of that famous guilty look in dogs, the animals showed the guilty face in response to their owner being upset, not in response to having actually done something wrong. It was a reaction to us, not to a conscience. And cats almost certainly work the same way. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you your cat lies under the bed, racked with remorse over your tail. She doesn't have the concept. She isn't sorry in the way a person is sorry. And yet, and this is the part I find more moving than the myth ever was, she comes back anyway. Think about what that actually means. She doesn't return because she thinks she was wrong. She has no idea about wrong. She returns because the distance itself bothers her. Because some ancient wordless part of her registered that the bond between the two of you had gone thin, and she could not leave it like that. She's not apologizing for a mistake. She's choosing you again on purpose the moment the storm passes. That isn't guilt. That's something closer to devotion, running on instinct instead of words. So put it together. When your cat comes back after a rough moment, the slow approach, the hard little head press, the cheek dragged along your hand, that soft blink from across the room, she is not sulking and she is not groveling. She is doing the most quietly loyal thing a cat can do. She is noticing that something came between the two of you, and she is walking straight back over to fix it. No pride, no scorekeeping. Just a small creature deciding over and over that being close to you matters more than being right. That's the apology, not the words we wish she had. Something better, the choice underneath them. So the next time you snap and she vanishes and your heart sinks a little, wait, give her the hour she needs. And when she creeps back and presses her head into your hand, don't just let it happen. Look at her and give her that slow blink back. Tell her in her own language the thing she just told you, that you're okay, that the two of you are okay. I'd love to hear about it. Tell me down in the comments, what does your cat do to make up with you after a bad moment? I read every single one, and the little rituals people describe on this one always get me. And if this changed the way you'll see that head bump tonight, share it with the one person you know who swears their cat is holding a grudge. They'll want to know what she's really doing. Take care of that bond. She's working harder to keep it than you ever knew. I'll see you in the next one.